I was still holding the serving spoon when she clipped it to my sweater. Plastic, red letters, crooked smile. Her parents laughed first, polite, rehearsed. My son didn't laugh. He smirked. "Food's for family," he said, glancing at the table. Every chair was filled, every place setting perfect. There was no chair for me. That was the moment I stopped being surprised. I stood there, the smell of rosemary and butter thick in the air, and I understood exactly what they thought I was, what they thought I had always been. I slid my wedding ring off, gold, warm from my skin, set it on the table, and I said 4 words: "I own this house." The room went silent. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I met his father when we were young and hungry and polite about it. He had ambition, I had patience. Together we built something that looked like love from the outside and functioned like a business on the inside. I funded, I organized, I signed. He smiled for photos and shook hands. When he died, everyone praised his legacy. No one asked who kept the lights on. I raised our son alone after that, paid for schools, tutors, lawyers when he needed them. I taught him how to read contracts before novels, how to listen without reacting. I thought I was teaching him strength. Apparently, I taught him entitlement. When he met her, she was charming in the way that requires an audience, always laughing just a second too late, always watching the room. Her parents followed soon after. They loved my home, my wine, my generosity. They loved calling it ours. The first shift was small. Invitations stopped including me by default. Comments about how traditions change. Then came the jokes, harmless, they said, lighthearted. I noticed my mail opened, my study reorganized, my accountant asking strange questions. I didn't confront anyone. I never confront without evidence. The message came accidentally, a forwarded email that wasn't meant for me, a seating chart for Christmas dinner. My name wasn't on it. Attached was a spreadsheet, assets, timelines, the phrase "transition of authority" highlighted in yellow. They were planning a quiet removal, sell the house, shift accounts, declare me confused if needed. My own son had signed off on it. I didn't cry. I sharpened. I spent 3 weeks doing nothing visible, smiling, cooking, letting them think I was small. Behind closed doors, I called lawyers they didn't know existed, pulled documents they'd never bothered to read. I moved nothing. I changed everything. The house was still in my name, always had been. The trust? Mine, structured that way decades ago just in case love failed. The accounts they thought were joint? Monitored, protected, conditional. I scheduled one final update, Christmas dinner. Everyone present. Witnesses matter. Which brings us back to the name badge. They thought humiliation would make me shrink. They forgot who taught them how to stand. When I said the words, my son laughed once, nervous. "That's not funny," he said. I picked up the ring again, turned it slowly so the light caught the engraving inside. Then I slid a folder across the table, thick, neat, tabbed. "The deed," I said calmly. "The trust documents. The account authorizations you forged." I looked at my daughter-in-law. "And the fraud charges your father suggested we handle quietly." Her mother went pale first, always the weakest link. My son stood up, tried to speak, couldn't find the air. I kept going. "You wanted food for family," I said, "so I brought the bill." I told them the house would be sold, not to them, that their access to my finances ended tonight, that the lawyer waiting outside would walk them through what happens next. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. They finally understood then, not the betrayal, the mistake. I left for dessert. Now, sitting alone in a quiet apartment I chose myself, I feel something close to peace. Not joy, not sadness, relief. They thought my silence was weakness. They never realized it was preparation. I didn't lose a family that night. I reclaimed myself. And that ring? I sold it the next morning.